Hey guys, how is everybody? I finally, I'm sorry, I'm just fixing my volume and fixing these comments. There we go. Okay, so hopefully we'll get some people to hop on. I'm finally in a position where I can update you on if Adam could potentially be coming home early. So I'll just wait for a couple people to hop on and hopefully this is going okay. Okay, so I see two people. Yay. I don't see who's on yet, but there we go. Hey Sarah, hey Lauren. I just want to update you guys on the Supreme Court. Hey Jen, on the case that went through, they did oral arguments in the Supreme Court yesterday. Hey Nikolai, so while people are hopping on, I'll just tell you a quick story that happened to me yesterday when I went back to the gym for the first time after my mother passed away. It was a week ago on Monday, so it's like a week and a half ago, and I finally had to get myself back into the gym and work and normal life. And so yesterday, while we were working out, we had just finished this really hard class, and all of a sudden I hear somebody say, I'm in the back of the gym cleaning up my equipment, and I hear somebody say, call 911. And it was like this girl that's like a jokester, right? So I thought she was like, oh, that was so hard, call 911. And then I heard somebody else yell it, and I'm like, whoa. And I turn around, and there's a man who had fainted, and now he's like convulsing, having a seizure. And so thankfully they got him to come back to within a couple minutes, which of course felt like an eternity when you're in an experience like that. But all of a sudden, all of the same cops and paramedics showed up that came to my house to take my mom to the hospital. So I was like, oh my God, I turned to my trainer. I'm like, I'm out. I gotta go. I'm sorry. He was a friend of mine. I texted him afterwards, but it was just too soon. I felt bad, but I had to leave. Anyway, he's okay. I was texting with him today. He was actually an AFib. He's a little bit older. He's 60. So he was an AFib, and I think he just worked out a little too hard. So he's going to talk to his doctor about surgery tomorrow. But anyway, I was just wasting some time while we had people hop on. So let's get to the real reason why I'm here. Yesterday, the Supreme Court had oral arguments for a case U.S. versus Davis that we've all been waiting for. And I saw an article about it, and it was written, so the title was so perfect. It said something like, the last Johnson domino about to fall. And I was like, yes. So let's talk about what what the arguments were about and how this could potentially help, we're not there, we're not out of the woods yet, we're still kind of acres in the woods, but we're taking steps, how it could help a whole bunch of people get out of federal prison. So, hey Cheyenne, I'm so happy you're here and you caught alive. Oh, thanks Jess. So this is a case where back in the years, you guys kind of blend together for me, but I'm going to try to get this right. In 2016, I believe, a case came through the Supreme Court, U.S. versus Johnson. It was for people sentenced under the Armed Career Criminal Act and the ACCA, and it challenged the verbiage in that sentence where it says crime of violence. So they could attach this statute to a crime of violence. And so in there, they were challenging that phrase is too vague. It's called void for vagueness. And so that went through, okay? And so people who were sentenced under the ACCA, it's 924G or E, I can't remember. But anyway, it was Armed Career Criminal Act. They were resentenced. Now, last year, a case came down called U.S. versus Damaya, and that challenged a statute 16B, and it's an immigration case. So any immigration case that also had a crime of violence attached, they could add this enhancement 16B. Well, Supreme Court again said that crime of violence is void for vagueness, so that went through. That kind of started to open the door for these federal firearms, 924C, what my loved one Adam is sentenced under, to also get relief on this because they use the phrase crime of violence. So what they do is they say that if somebody is sentenced and they have a firearm on them, I know I've explained this in a few videos before, it's really confusing, so I'm explaining it again, and I'm sorry if it's a repeat, but I have to say this for people who are just new. And if you're new, why aren't you subscribed yet? Make sure you smash that subscribe button. So 924C is an enhancement. So if you have a crime of violence, usually it's for robberies, bank robberies, carjackings, and drug deals is usually what they attach this statute to. So if you have a gun in your possession, they can add 924C and enhance you. So Lauren, I'm not sure either if this will help you, but Adam and Eric will. So we'll figure it out for you. But so if you have this attachment, or they can charge you with this. Let's just say that. It's kind of a weapon that they use to make you cooperate, because they stack these 924Cs on top of one another and they create these long, crazy sentences. Now, disclaimer, because I know I'm going to have haters. I believe that people deserve to do time when they do something wrong, like drug deals and robberies and carjackings and whatever else I just said, quote unquote crimes of violence. But this is where they're questioning in this Davis case. It's called the categorical approach, meaning they can categorize and say a crime of violence, sorry for my air quotes, it's so cheesy, but it's just me and my Italian hands. But crime of violence is they can categorize, right? So the example that they used, which I thought was great, Adam is sentenced under his underlying crime is Hobbs Act robbery, and that's because he carried money over state lines. His crimes were committed in Philadelphia, and he lived in South Jersey at the time, so he drove over state lines with the stolen money, right? My friend always tells me that, Sarah always tells me, if I sit on my hands, I wouldn't be able to talk. I think it's true, so we're not going to sit on them now, but we'll test it one day, Jess. Anyway, so Hobbs Act is anything that affects, any type of robbery that affects interstate commerce. So somebody used this example today. Adam has used this example in the past. Let's say I go into 7-Eleven, right? And I rob cups out of 7-Eleven. Those cups were made in China. So if they indict me, and I have a gun in my pocket, so if they indict me under Hobbs Act, where's the violence there? Where's the violence there that I robbed? I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying that it's right to commit that robbery, but are cups, do cups have feelings? Are cups gonna get hurt? But you could charge me with Hobbs Act for that because it's affecting interstate commerce. And number two, you can charge me with 924C. Another example that they used is, let's say I'm standing outside of another storefront, and I have a gun in my pocket. It's not used, it's on me. And let's use Weldon Angelos' case as an example. Weldon Angelos received 55 years. He was set up by the feds, and they did 3 controlled drug deals, right? Small amounts of marijuana. He had a gun in an ankle holster during this. And the only reason they knew, he didn't take it out or anything, the only reason they knew is because he was talking about it. And so he received 5 years for the first gun charge, and then 25 and 25. And the judge felt bad when he was sentencing him to this, because that's an automatic 55 years. Judge and jury do not have a say here. And so the judge gave him 1 day for his underlying crime, because he was sentencing him to life for life. It was 55 years. Here I go. Because of these 924Cs. So let's say that drug deal was taking place outside of a storefront. That guy just got 55 years. But that's they're categorizing that, right? The cups, right? Those cups, that drug deal, they're all crimes of violence, even though nobody got hurt. And I have had people comment on my videos saying, well, there was always a victim in the crime and there's emotional pain and blah, blah, blah. I 100% agree with you. I believe you. I feel you. I am with you. I am so with you. But you can't tell me somebody that robs cups out of the convenience store, right? Or the convenience store clerk is having as much emotional pain as somebody a child who had a horrific violent act committed against them, a woman who had a horrific act committed against them, or somebody who lost their life because of a violent act. How are those apples to apples, right? But in the categorical approach, they can lump all of those into the same category and charge those with 924Cs. So that's where they were challenging this. So there were a lot of really good points made. The points that I always have Adam and one of my really good attorney friends give me their opinion before I speak on this kind of stuff. So I finally got her opinion, the attorney's opinion today. I got Adam's opinion last night. He told me, I sent him all of the oral arguments. I have some copied here. I don't even think I'm gonna read them to you guys because it's like a lot of stuff that legal stuff that I don't know if it's going to help you or not. I don't know if I'm making it more confusing like the first, 10 minutes I was just speaking. But Adam said when he reads these types of arguments, he'll skip to the end and see how they ended it. So like the last 6 paragraphs he said were on point. It's an argument that he has made for the past 20 years where they want to give discretion back to the judges. And in these last 6 paragraphs, there was a Supreme Court justice that came in and he said, yeah, but he's like, he was making some stupid case, not stupid, he was making his point, right? And it was against 924C. And another justice interrupted him and he goes, you know that you're only saying that because of the number of people that this is going to affect. There's about 3,000 people that this will affect. And so the guy kind of tried to weasel his way out of it and tried to keep going with his point. And his point was basically what I just said about like the Weldon Angelos case. So if he was doing that minor marijuana deal outside of a storefront, that's an act of violence, considered a crime of violence because he had a gun on him. Or somebody is selling counterfeit bags outside of the same 7-Eleven. They're in different categories. You see what I mean? Because one is considered a crime of violence, but they were both making an illegal sale outside of an establishment. One's considered a crime of violence, even though the gun wasn't used, and they're lumped into a category. So that's what they're challenging. So the guy said, he goes, what's the difference? I'm not saying that those people shouldn't be prosecuted, and I'm not saying that those people shouldn't go to trial. But if you take the 924C away and stop making it mandatory, you're giving the judge and the jury discretion to sentence them, and they might actually give them more time than the 924C would actually give them. So let's give credit where credit's due, and let's trust that judges and juries that you select will be smart enough to be able to do this. So do they always give plea deals? Usually a 924C is charged to make people take a plea. Okay? So basically, and I got this from an attorney who works, I don't want to say his name, I don't know if I should say his name or not, but very, very famous attorney who works 924C cases all the time. And he said that in the United States, he said this on TV, so I still don't want to say his name just in case, but he said this on CNN and MSNBC when he was being interviewed. And he was so sweet because he used Adam's case as an example. And he said, in the United States, we punish people for going to trial. So Adam would have never been sentenced with 924C, would have probably gotten 12 years if, well, no, let me take that away. Could have gotten 0 to 20 years because he chose not to take a plea deal because he didn't even know the people that they wanted him to speak about when they wanted him to cooperate. Story for another time, but thank you for saying that. Yes, usually they give you a plea, and if you do not choose to take the plea, they're going to dangle this 924C over your head because they create, it's 5 years for the first one, and then 25 on top of, and then 25 on top of, and then 25 on top of, until you get to the amount of charges that they're trying to charge you with. So it creates these crazy, because if you get 2, like Weldon Angelos, I'm sorry, if you get more than 2, right? So first is 5. This is just possession. Let's just keep it simple. This is just possession. And then 2 would make it automatic 25 on top of the underlying crime. So for Adam, that was 8 years, and then 5 years are already at 13. But then you throw 25 on top of that. Now we're already talking about his life, you know? So anyway, so what Adam was saying when he read those last 6 paragraphs was this, that whole thing about putting it back on the judges. Now, the Supreme Court justice that was pushing for this, the one that had basically the deciding vote in DiMaia, said that let's give it back to the judges. There are guideline ranges for a reason. So let's get these people that have already been charged resentenced. So for Adam's underlying crime, because of his criminal history points, his Hobbs Act robbery could have been charged 0 to 20 years. That's the guideline range. The highest that he could have been charged if they enhanced him was 20 years. Outside of the 924C, because they chose to charge him with 924Cs. But let's take away stacked 924C and we resentence him. This judge was saying, let's do that. And that means Adam would go for resentencing. And if he got 20 years, if he got those 20 years, he would have been out a few years ago. Because remember, in the feds, they serve, I think it's 85% of their sentence. I think, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But with good time, he would have been out a few years ago. So now we're in overtime. So as far as how this could potentially help him if it goes through positively is that time served, resentencing. Well, time served right away if we just get them to like write it off like they did for Matthew Charles with the First Step Act with the crack. If they just like write it off for him, if his judge is like, yes, let him out, that could potentially get him out. It could go a whole bunch of different ways. Again, we're not out of the woods. We need at least 5 Supreme Court justices to say that they agree, that they're against the government, that they agree with knocking down 924C, getting rid of the categorical approach, saying that crime of violence is too vague. So my girlfriend, who's an attorney, gave me her opinion on it when she read the arguments, and she agreed, basically Adam and her are on the exact same page, which they typically are with this stuff. Both of them are experts in 924C, that 4 of the justices will side against the government, okay? 3, she believes, will side with the government, meaning unfavorably for us. And then there are 2, because there's 9 can't do 9. There's 9 justices. So you need at least 5 voting on one side. 2 people did not say a word during oral arguments. So we don't know which way those 2 will vote. But if it goes the way that it appears to go in oral arguments, there are times where justices will come back and change their opinions. Usually it doesn't happen. Sometimes it does. Sometimes they ask for an extension and they'll like write really good briefs to one another, and then they kind of could sway decisions. But the way that it appears right now, and the way that people voted, I guess that's the word, decided during DiMaia, really should be the way that they decide now. Then there's one new guy, right? But so it's right now, it looks like, from what we can tell, this is all speculation, but from what my attorney friend Adam and legal blogs that I've read, 4, it seems 4 will go against the government, favoring us, so that this could get us time served and get us out. 3, it looks like, are gonna go with the government and knock it down, and then we have two in limbo. So I'm a little stressed, my friends. When will we let's try again. When will we know this? When will we know how it's gonna go? Decisions are handed down. I believe the next time they're handing down decisions, because I looked at the Supreme Court calendar, is the last Monday in April. Okay, so it could happen then. It's not 100%. Uh-oh. Am I still live, Ray? Are you having problems, or is anybody else having problems? Uh-oh, it looks fine on my end, so I'm gonna keep going. So the last Monday in April, and then it's the 3rd Monday, I believe, May 13th, and then the next Monday, and then the next Tuesday, because it's, yeah, I am. Okay, thanks guys. And then the next Tuesday, so it's the last Monday in April, the last 3 weeks of May, it's the 13th, I think it's the 20th, and then the next Tuesday, because Memorial Day, they're off, so they come back on Tuesday, and then every Monday in June. They can push this to next session. We don't think they're gonna push it to next session, because it should kind of be black and white for them, because they just decided DiMaia last April. So my thought is this, thank you guys. My thought is, how can you say Johnson is wrong, DiMaia is wrong, and then come back and say, oh, but Davis, 924C, no, that's right. How does that make any sense? Last domino in the Johnson domino game, I guess, hopefully is the 924C, the Davis case that's gonna fall. Let's hope. Anything goes, you guys. I've learned to keep this stuff at arm's length. No, I've learned since DiMaia, because with DiMaia, if you guys go back and watch my videos, I was doing them on Facebook Live at the time, but I pulled them all in here. If you go to my playlist, and I'm sorry, I apologize, they're really poor quality, and there are a lot of distractions on them because I was answering questions on my Facebook Live, but I kind of go over it, and I was basically like, Adam's coming home, and then it all kind of just went downhill. And I kind of knew, as you could see, I made a video every day for a week responding to the DiMaia emotions after that came down. The first day I was like crying, like, he's coming home. The second day I was like, I don't know, you guys, I feel like they're gonna pull the rug out from under us, because this is the way it goes with this stuff. And then the third day I was like, oh, I just gotta stay positive, but I don't know. And then after a week, it was like, they screwed us again, because all the districts were ruling differently, right? So that's why, and Adam said it, he's really good with this stuff. He goes, we need to wait for the the Supreme Court to pick up a 924C case, because otherwise they're going to keep ruling differently, and there's just way too much discretion. There's just way too much, that's not the right word, but there's just too many different factors going on, and it's just not, it's not fair, it's not just anymore, it's not constitutional. So yes, this could be it. Again, I'm trying to keep it at arm's length. Last night when I spoke to Adam, I was like, yay, still trying to keep it at arm's length. But after I spoke to my girlfriend today, I was like, ugh, I'm scared. She goes, don't be scared, just be cautiously optimistic. That's how I feel. And again, arm's length. So I'm gonna try my best not to like stalk the Supreme Court every Monday. Believe me, I have Google alerts set up for this with every possible way that you could say U.S. v. Davis, Supreme Court decision, you name it, it's in my Google alerts. I'll get an email. More than likely, I'll get an email from one of you guys or a text from one of you guys. That's what happened with Demaya. My girlfriend Marie over in Ireland, believe it or not, sent me a message and was like, Demaya, it's positive. And I was like, stop it. So that's it. Keeping it at arm's length. Of course, we'll keep you guys posted. I told Adam, I have, like, even before oral arguments, I have a good feeling about this now because I got an angel up in heaven that is, like, kicking God, saying, well, no, actually, my friend Nikki's mother passed last year, and her husband has 55 years, 924C, and she's like, my mom's up there kicking God in the shin, like, don't leave Nikki down there alone anymore. And I'm like, well, my mom's now up there bribing him with good Italian food. Like, come on, let her live her life now. Here, pizza? So, I have a good feel. I'm teasing you guys. It's okay. We can laugh about it now. But yeah, I have my angel up there. Nikki's angel is up there. Devon's angel is up there. They're all pulling strings for us. And of course, I'll keep you guys posted. But let's hope this is the beginning of the end for me, for all of us, 3,000 people that can be affected by this. And I loved that guy said that. I loved that he said, like, dude, the Supreme Court justice was like, dude, not even a little bit. But the guy was like, that's so unconstitutional to say, I don't want this to happen because you don't want it to affect so many people. That's ridiculous. And I believe that they also don't want to lose their little carrot, their little weapon that they get to dangle. Oh, you don't want to cooperate? You don't want to fit into our little agenda so we can incriminate somebody that you don't even know? Okay. Look at this little 924C. You're going to go away for 100 plus years. I'm going to put you away for 2 centuries. They won't have that anymore. And that's disgusting that's why they want to keep it. Like we say in so many different areas of life, unless you go through this, unless you have a loved one who's going through this, unless you've lost somebody to this, then you have absolutely no idea how painful this is and how much this, how unjust, and how it's like that stupid challenge that I just talked about, the feeling cute challenge. Like, clearly you don't have somebody inside where you think it's cute to pepper spray a whole entire wing of a prison, or to put somebody's baby daddy in the hole, or to burn somebody in the shower for an hour. Anyway, I'm not going down that road. There is my update on Davis. I will definitely keep you guys posted. As soon as I get a decision, I'm going to be on here crying, whether it's positive because, or whether it's negative because obviously, not negative, either favorable or unfavorable. And if it doesn't work out, we're just going to go a different direction because that's what we always do. I know he will be home eventually. I just don't know when or how, but we hold on to that hope, you guys. We put it out there, and then we detach from the outcome, and we just let it happen the way that it needs to happen, in the timing that it needs to happen. And that's it. You guys keep staying strong, keep loving strong, keep supporting one another through this journey, because you're one day closer to it all being behind you. Lots of love from my heart to yours. I will see all of you beautiful ladies and gentlemen in the next one. Tomorrow I have a video coming out. It's kind of off topic of my usual stuff. You guys ask me all the time about my health and wellness and my fitness and all of that stuff. So I have a video about my diet and how I've changed it over the past couple of months. After 3 years, I was really strict one way, and now I'm going a different direction. So if that's not your thing and you're not into it, just come back on the next one. But I did get requests for it. It's really popular right now. So I did create that. That's going live tomorrow. And then we'll be back to our normal stuff, probably over the weekend. But that's it. Bye, guys. I love you. Mwah. Okay, perfect, Derek. Then you can check out that video tomorrow. See you later, Josh. I'll stay on for a second if anybody has anything they want me to talk about. I'll stay on for just a second, even though I said goodbye twice. Does anybody have anything else? I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay.